Hi everyone, so welcome to our next lesson for RE today, and we're going to be thinking about sacred place for Muslims. Again, before we start this video, just a reminder that if you need to pause the video at any point, that's absolutely fine, and then you can just resume it. Once you've watched the video through once, then you can go back, revisit any bits you need to go back over to help you in your learning. Also, if I ask you any questions, please do call them out because it does help us remember it and keep that learning in our heads. And if we do my turn, your turn, please join in because it'd be lovely to hear you from the other side of the screen. Okay, so let's get started with our learning for today. So our learning objective says to identify the sacred place for Muslims. And our success criteria, the first one in red, I can name the sacred place for Muslims, so we know what it's called. The second one, I can describe the important artifacts, the important things that we'll find in a mosque. And the last one in green, I can explain why a mosque is important to Muslims. So I wonder if we'll be able to do all three of those today. So if we get started, remember we do our knowing more, remembering more. Get a pen or a pencil ready to write down the answers to these. A rabbi leads the worship in a synagogue, true or false? Question 2. Which of these objects would you find at a synagogue? Quran, stained glass window, or an ark? And your challenge, what does Ner Tamid mean? And we did look at this last lesson. Once you've got your answers written down, if you have a different color pen or pencil available, get that ready so we can show our answers and we can tick and flick. Here are the answers. So a rabbi leads the worship in a synagogue, true. Which of these objects would you find at a synagogue? An ark. And the challenge, Ner Tamid, means eternal light. Remember, it was that flame on the candle. Here is our knowledge organizer. And we've looked at these questions already. If we look at the green, we've looked at sacred places. And then we've looked about, for Christians, we've looked about places for the Jewish beliefs. And now we're going to look at what is sacred for Muslims. And if we look at our key vocabulary, if you've got good eyesight and if you're good at spotting things, you would have noticed the word Muslims here, and you'll already be able to answer the first question. It's called a mosque. So, what can you remember? Why are these important? So we have our church, and we know this is where Christians come to worship and Christians feel safe here. And we've talked about the importance of the cross for Christians as well. Then we looked at the synagogue, and knowing this is where Jewish people come to worship. So if you're a Christian, you'll go to a church. If you're Jewish, you go to a synagogue. And if you are Muslim, you go to a mosque. And this is the one that's actually around the corner from us. It's the Greenwich Islamic Centre. And we can see the symbol for them down there as well. So today, which one are we looking at? Which one are we going to be focusing on? What one do you think? Tell me. Well done if you said a mosque. That's what we're going to be learning about today. So let's find out all about the mosque. Oh, there's one. What do you notice? What can you see? Have a look, careful look. Here's another one. Oh, I can see some similarities. I can see some things that are the same. I wonder if you can. What looks the same to you between those two buildings? Is there anything that is different that they don't have in common? Oh, and there's another one. Oh, interesting. I think there are probably more differences between this picture than these two. But what do you think? I can see that they all have domes in the center, and they all have these tall towers. This I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I think there's one just poking out there. So that's 12. And on the last one, 1, 2, 3, just 4. Oh, I wonder why they have these towers. And if I look really carefully, the really tall ones look slightly differently. They look like they've got windows in them. So this has one of those big towers. This middle picture has 4 and this one has 2. They look like they're important. I wonder if they have a special name. Okay. So what is it like inside a mosque? Oops. There we go. You can see 3 pictures there. Think back to your learning last week and the week before. Have a look at what the inside looks like. Does it look the same as a church to you? Does it look the same as a synagogue? What do you notice? This could be a good time, year one, to pause the video so that you can think back about what you've learned about synagogues and churches and have a careful look at it. So I can see that I think all 3 of them, a synagogue, a church, and a mosque, have lots of decorative art in them and lovely, beautiful patterns. And I was also thinking that some of the churches have these great big arches as well, don't they? With pillars to hold them up. So I think that's similar, but I'm not sure if there's anything else. A synagogue and a church both had somewhere that the priest or the rabbi would deliver a service. I can't see that in this mosque. So maybe that is something that is different. Okay, so let's think about the features that are important. I wonder if there will be anywhere like an altar that would help with doing their service. So one of the most important things to do when you go into a mosque is to take off your shoes. So when you're in a mosque, nobody has their shoes on. So at the front of the door, there needs to be a big shoe rack so that everybody can put their shoes so they stay neat and tidy and we know where they are. Then there will also be prayer mats. And it says here, mosques either have carpet with individual prayer mats or Muslims take their own prayer mat to worship upon. So instead of sitting in rows on wooden benches called pews, like we would in a church or even in a synagogue, they have similar seating. In a mosque, we don't have those. Let's go back. There's no seats. And especially this one at the bottom right, it's just a floor. And I think these are people who are laying down to pray. So that's a big difference. And there is a washroom, and it's important for Muslims that they wash, that they are clean before they go into the main hall. I don't think I've been to a church where there's a washroom before you go into it. And then the Quran, which is the Muslim holy book and is the word of God. And it is treated with the greatest of respect, and it's placed on a special wooden stand to be read. Do we do that in a church or a synagogue? Or is that something different? Okay, so this is other things that you will find. So tasbih beads. These are beads hanging around the mosque to help worshippers think about Allah. The mirab, which is an alcove. An alcove is like a dent in a recess bit that dips in the wall. And it's an alcove in the wall which shows the direction the worshippers need to face. This is the direction of Mecca in Saudi Arabia, the most sacred Muslim place in the world. And the minaret. Oh, most mosques have at least one minaret, which is a tall, thin tower. And a man stands at the top and calls Muslims to prayer. Now, a minaret. Let's go back. So minaret is a tall tower that people call from. Let's have a look at these mosques. Can you spot the minaret or minarets? I think I can see them. Can you? So all of those buildings have at least one minaret. And I think that's what these tall towers are here. Do you agree? So we've spotted our minarets. Now we're just going to watch a quick video to help us learn and to see a little bit more about the important features of a mosque. Now, when the video is playing, it might be a good idea for you to take some notes and write down some things that you spot. Right, so as we watch this video, think about what you can spot in the mosque. Can you find the alcove, the dipped bit? Can you find the prayer mats? What else do you notice? Here we go. What can you see in the background? Can you see any benches for people to sit on? Can you see people on prayer mats? Okay, so we've just watched a short video of a child who was calling people to prayer. So a bit like when the man would stand at the top of a minaret to call people to prayer. You just heard a child, and hopefully while he was singing and calling people to prayer, you could see in the background some of the beautiful decorations. And if we go back a slide, you could have seen the prayer mats. I wonder if you spotted anything else in that video. And if you want to watch the rest of the video, the link is at the bottom if that's interesting for you. So the big question for today, why do you think the mosque is so important to Muslims? Thinking time. Okay, now tell me what you think. Why do you think it's important? And here is your task. So we have got 6 things here. Do we find all of these in a mosque? Or do we just find some of them? And it says circle or write underneath the box the things you would find in a mosque. So if you think we would find a minaret at a mosque, you can draw a circle around it. If you think we would find a stained glass window, you can draw a circle around it. That is your first task. And then your challenge, and I know you're up for this, year 1, is to match the words to its definition. So we have the Quran. Which of these pictures matches the Quran? And then we've got the writing next to it. Which ones match? Now, if we can, it would be great to use a ruler to draw them. Or if you're just doing it without the sheet at home or in school, then what you can do is just write the word and then next to it or underneath, just write out the sentence that matches. And that's the end of our learning for today, year 1. I hope you've managed to find some things out about mosques, ready for our new learning after half term.